Here we are, here we be, and here we and what we do, y'all. It's your boy James, and you're watching my channel, Watch Your Mouth Reviews, where I'm here to give my honest review while trying to watch my mouth. We'll see. Joining us as always is my girls, Mrs. Best. My girl. I don't know why I did that plural. Sorry. My girl, Mrs. Best. Say what's up to the people.
Hello, everybody. Like the video, please.
Like the video, share the video. Y'all click on this video. This one doesn't get as many views as my other shows, but that's okay. It's a new show. And I'm not really expecting much out of it. It is a fun one to watch. I will say I am learning a little bit. I am. So, me wanting to go into real estate again at some point in my life, I do want to do this again because I didn't get my fair chance when I did it in 2009. So now that we're almost 20 some odd years later, I am going to try it again. So, starting it off with the first lesson that I learned is we start off with Jermisha. She is driving to the land. She's meeting another realtor that works at her firm, and her husband is a developer. And then Aunt Nikki shows up as well. And so they're looking at the lay of the land, and he's kind of giving them a vision of what this could look like. So what he's saying is that the vision is that this can actually be a paved street in the middle, and then you could probably have between 20 and 30 homes on this big land lot right here, which the development plan, if they were to go with this option, would be close to 7 to 10 million. But if they're leasing it, it actually can turn around and bring in a lot of generational wealth to come into the future. And that was Jermisha's hope with all of this. And they begin having the conversation of why this is not being planned into action. Jermisha says that the plan that their grandmother, who currently owns the land, wants to do is sell the land and pay off the generation one's homes. That's her goal for selling this land. And Jermisha let it out the bag that her grandmother does this a lot, where she will sell some land and then pay off something that one of the G1s needs, whether it be a car or a home. Nikki took offense. She go, hold up, hold up, hold up, because that is not true. She does kick in some money, but it's not like she goes and just completely take care of us. And I'm just like, Nikki, it may not be you personally, but I 100% believe that Granny kick in some kickback for homes, which isn't her right. I'm not saying she shouldn't do that because she absolutely, if you have it to give to your children, absolutely you should. But I do believe Jermisha when she said that. Mrs. Best, did you believe Jermisha when she said it?
Yeah, she don't got no reason to lie. Why she gonna lie on her family for? Because she gonna have to hear about that off camera. She got no
Hmm.
reason to lie. Nikki's reaction let me know that it was true too. That was a guilty conscience because she probably
Absolutely.
has profited off of some of that. Nothing's wrong with it, but in my opinion, whenever I do have kids, and God willing they have kids, as soon as they have a kid, I don't give a damn about them no more. It's all about my grandchild. But you know, other
Mhm.
people feel like they want to do for their kids.
Absolutely. And as I said, I don't think she's wrong in wanting to do that for her children. I think that that's a beautiful thing. I think more Black people should be doing this. But at the same time, I also do see the bigger vision too. I actually think they should go with that. And it does, put a stipend because they said, well, the man's like, well, what do we need to get this going? And Aunt Nikki said, you're going to have to convince her mother, Aunt Cheryl, Aunt Charlotte, and Aunt Jackie. Them the people you got to convince, because if they don't agree to it, the granny not gonna do it. So they were like, okay. So Jermisha's like, okay, I got to work on them, which to some extent I get it. I do because of the mother's mental state of where she is today. But then I'm like, dang. I'm like, how hard is it to not see that this is what we should be
She
doing
needs
with
to
this
just
land?
let her sell the land since she wants to so bad. Get prepared to purchase the land and make
Right.
a good offer. Be prepared to outbid everybody so she's forced to buy from you.
That's what I'm thinking as well. It's like, it must be that they don't have that kind of money to give to buy the land. That's what it's get. I could be wrong, y'all. I could be wrong. I'm not trying to count other people's pockets, but to me, I would have wrote the check if I had it like that. Because it seems like they're trying to escape out of her wishes of selling it. But like Mrs. Best said, y'all should be the highest bidder. And go ahead and buy it, especially if you see the biggest potential. It will still be in the family's name, but just tell the G1s and Granny, y'all ain't gonna get no kickback from this. This is only going to be for the G2s and
Exactly.
going forward. That's all y'all
Exactly.
have to do. because that's what I would do. Because y'all got your money from it. Now it's the G2's turn. We finna get a whole lot of generational wealth that will go to the children and grandchildren. We finna repeat the cycle. I don't understand how hard that is, but once again, I'm not counting anybody's pockets, but that's what it looked like to me.
I also find it interesting that the G1s need so much assistance when y'all had the opportunity. The grandparents, Oscarina and them was doing it big back in the day.
Hmm.
So you guys had a foundation to help you to do well. The grandkids seem to pick up on it.
I
So just
think you
why
know
their
what it
house not
is.
paid off? What's going on with their
I
incomes?
was gonna say, you know what it is? It seemed like they didn't want to do the family business and they all got regular jobs and just wanted to live their life that way because it was probably they felt it was probably harder to work for the family, or maybe they feel they didn't get paid enough. And it's always one of those situations where the family probably doesn't pay what the outside world would pay. And so the G2s, because real estate over the last decade has been probably one of the most biggest turnaround rates that we have seen with any career path you're going to go into. So they're already seeing that this could generate more, and we already have prominent, real estate investors in the family being the grandparents. Why not go into this field? And the grandparents saying, yeah, we love real estate and we've invested in many properties here. We're going to pay for y'all because we see the vision. Too bad our kids didn't, but we see it in y'all. I think that that's what really happened in this family. So I think that that's what's going on. And now, and Aunt Nikki ain't no fool. Plus, Aunt Nikki's not that much older than the grandchildren. That's why she's always in the middle. So she's going to go where the money resides too, because she also sees it. They probably saw it in her as well. So, and I'm once again, y'all, I love the concept of the show, but it also shows how black people in generations and everything could be in our way as well when it comes to making certain decisions. But like I said, if y'all had the money, it wouldn't be a problem, right? You know. That's all I'm gonna say. But moving on, y'all, they have this brunch and it is to celebrate, how I don't know if it was to celebrate anything in particularly, like, because that's not what I got from it. It was more so Jermisha saying how, um, out of all the realtors in the world, only 4% are black, which is actually very true. It actually used to be less than one when I did real estate. It was something that black people were not into as much. And when we say that, y'all, it's not saying it's not a high number of us because there's over millions of realtors. So even if there were just 1 million starting out when I started in real estate and there's only 1%, that means there was 100,000 of us that were black, but the rest were probably white or some other nationality, which is not a lot. But now that number is getting more and more enticing, and a lot of people are seeing the more benefit of real estate, how it does have a huge turn if you do what you're supposed to be doing. So that's pretty much what that luncheon is. They also invited Keisha, and we see Caramel join her. I didn't like this scene, but I'm gonna go ahead and get through it. Um, they said Caramel's also a realtor as well. She's interested in, partnering up with Braden real estate as well. And Nicole takes it upon herself and she goes, Caramel, I don't really see much of you. How long y'all been together? And they said 2 years. 2 years. See, the last time we were around you, Caramel, it was at her mother's wake, and her ex-girlfriend called, and I didn't know what that situation was. And Caramel was kind of caught off guard. And you had Aunt Nikki to the right of her. She goes, yeah, I hardly know you ever there because you're just so quiet. So when that happened, I was like, oh, she rowdy. And I was looking at Aunt Nikki and I was looking at Nicole, and I was like, this was the time y'all decided to bring this up at this given moment, at this brunch with all these people in y'all business. I get we on TV, y'all. I get it. I get we on TV and it's in everybody's business, but we wouldn't have known at this moment right now. And I was mad at Lakeisha for not sticking up and saying, hey, we're not going to talk about that. We got past it. We're fine. So just, she did it later, but she did it too late. But they were going, and Caramel held her own. She took it. She didn't really, fight back or argue back. Mrs. Best, do you think Caramel handled it in the appropriate way, or how would you handle it if you were Caramel and all these women came at you like that?
I think she handled it appropriately. I think it would have been okay for her to say, though, at the same time, you only have one side of things. You know, I would have at least defended myself a little bit, but at the same time, I respect her for not disrespecting the family. Also, something about her rubs me wrong.
About caramel?
Yes.
I haven't gotten there yet. I'm still on the fence. I don't know what it. She reminds me of somebody we went to high school with. I just can't put my finger on it. But she just, yeah, it was just. I was really proud of her for not letting out the beast, but it was kind of like I don't know if I would have kept it in that way as well. I'd have been like, look, I
How
get
these heifers acting like they care when they barely acknowledge their sister?
that was another thing. That's why I didn't like the scene. It's funny you brought that up because I was gonna say that. It was like, Nikki, you just getting cool. So now you trying to intercept, and now that's your sister, and now you care about her feelings when she has expressed that she feels left out and feels strained from all of you. I said that is very interesting, Nikki. Very interesting. I'm just going to say that because y'all, I don't buy it. I don't buy it. It's given for TV. I feel like you feel how you feel, and you shows your mother's feelings. So we gonna get to that in a minute because I think that was the next scene. I'm just trying to replay my mind right quick. That's gonna be the next scene. So the next scene we have is with Nikki. She takes her mom out to dinner, and she's expressing to her mom that it was very hard for her to conceive their daughter Layton, and she was telling her mom, they're thinking about adoption, and the mother's like, well, what made you go that far? And she goes, well, I have to give to another child, and since it was so hard for us, because y'all she up there in age, I keep telling y'all she up there in age, so sometimes that's not the best thing, because after 36 you're considered a geriatric pregnancy, unfortunately. So I think that and there's nothing wrong with adoption. I'm looking into it as well, so there's nothing wrong with it as far as that goes. But I'm happy that she's come to that conclusion. So the mom brings up Lakeisha, and I said, "Oh shit, here we go." So the mom's like, "How was your conversation? I know you and Lakeisha, had your differences. How did it go?" She goes, "It went really good. I mean, I wish it could have gone better. As far as that goes." And she goes, "Well, I know you want to know the full story." Then she automatically shut that down. She goes, "Mama, we're not talking about that. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it." And I said, "Oh, why not? Why not, Nikki? Why not, Mrs. Best? Why do you think she shut down that conversation?"
Her mama was probably the other woman, probably like a Peter Guns, Amina Butterfly, Tara
Entire situation. You think it's
situation.
that kind of situation?
I think so.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't get Peter and Amina. I don't. I do think that there were deeper feelings for Lakeisha's mom than it just being, oh, they just met up one night, at the juke joint, and they just, went to the Motel 6 and got it in. I do think it was definitely more than that, but I just feel like there's something that that mom was going to say, and I think she was trying to protect her mom from people coming at her mom. Because regardless of how y'all feel about this situation, Lakeisha did not ask to be here. So it's not fair for anyone just to shut her out because she's the other woman's child. That never was something that was fair to me. Even no matter what. If I took you back, that means I'm taking that child too. That's how I look at it. I know a lot of times.
No, that's correct. If somebody, oh, I hate to use it, but Rashida and Kirk Frost on Love and Hip Hop, which we will be covering when it comes back later this month. I'm trying to tell
Mhm.
y'all, she takes care of, watches his kids with other people that he made while with her. I mean, if you're gonna take the person back, you got to take what all comes with them, and children come with people.
They really do. And I don't know as a society why that's so hard to comprehend. Yes, he made the mistake, but you shouldn't have took him back if you couldn't deal with it. Hey, HK_X, we appreciate you being here. Thank you for joining us, love. But I'm just one of those people, like I've never seen why that was such a big deal. I could forgive people past a lot of things. I don't know if I can forgive a child, but if I were to forgive like whoever I'm with and they had a child on me, that baby is going to be everywhere I am. And me and that mother will have to work out how we can make this one big happy family because that's how I am. I'm just that person. Like I'm not intentionally trying to meet somebody. Let me not speak that out loud. Whoever I end up with next, Michael B. Jordan, if that is you, don't do this. This is unacceptable. You are not trying. We not finna have no kids out of our marriage. Bring your ass home. We're gonna adopt, and that's what it is. Or if you want to do the surrogate route, we can do that. All I request is two twins and a little girl. That's all I want. Two twin boys and a little girl. That's it. But enough about me, y'all. That was too much of my business. How did their father cheat with it? Well, the mama was gonna go into it, but Nikki shut it down. So we don't know. All we know from this conversation they had was that Lakeisha and Nikki are only 3 months apart in age. So how it happened, we do not know. And the mama was probably about to spill it, but she shut it down too far. So we don't know what the hell and how the hell and where that's going. So only God knows, y'all. Only God knows. So we move on from this scene. What happened next? I didn't yeah, I'm trying to do this from memory because, like I said, this show was so long-winded that it's crazy. But the next thing I'm gonna talk about is pretty much look, Jaquita went out of the country with her travel group and her husband and her son. It was such a cute scene. That boy has that lady's entire face. When I was looking at that little boy and they were on FaceTime, I said, damn girl, that boy got your entire face. But it was a cute scene. They were making spaghetti, they were talking on the phone, and pretty much what he was telling Jaquita is that he still doesn't have a contract. He still doesn't have, you know, all the components to work for Braden Real Estate Firm. But we understand from Nicole, she mentioned he's still getting paid. So I don't understand how we are still paying him and he's not showing up to certain events and everything. Because that was the problem at the brunch. Now, I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. If you pay me, you a damn fool for not having no contract and paying me. That's your fault. That ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm not contractually obligated to be there. If you paying me, oh well, you better sue me for it, or you better come up with some work for me to do on my time. But the fact that y'all don't have a contract for this man and y'all are a business is weird. It is strange. It is weird because, and this is where shit get twisted when you work with family. I feel like family should still have a contract. Mrs. Best, do you agree?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I use my husband's B3ST logo and company on the channel, and we have a written agreement for it. I mean,
Absolutely. It
when
it business is business,
business is
family
business.
is family. And when
Yes.
you mix the two, that does not mean, oh well, Bobo over there, I'm just gonna give him $50, and then when
Some
he don't do the
people
job.
do make it work, but for most people, it's very difficult. It's very, very difficult. So, I mean, at the end of the day, business is business, and you have to put family aside. As long as you're not screwing anybody over, business is business.
I agree with that. I do. I agree with all of that because at the end of the day, it's what keeps everything in order. And when you lose order of operating of your system, your business goes under. You have to keep things intact. So
Clear that
I
she will defend her husband more, though. I understand not wanting to get in between it, but you can still, like, make it clear, like, "Do not talk about this around me," or "Let's have somebody else handle it." There's more she could be doing.
Or she could just
Yeah.
say, "Where's the contract?" If y'all gave him the contract, we wouldn't be here. And I do agree. And I
Speak
said this from
up.
the beginning. I said this from the beginning. I said Jaquita needs to stand up more because there's no way I'm just gonna stand next to my husband and watch my sister and my cousin just rip him to shreds for some shit that they forgot to do. I'm sorry. That's just how I am. That's my next to kin at this point legally. So this family thing, sorry, y'all got to pay him or y'all got to give him the contract that he's asking for. First of all, that's just business 101. Having a contract when you're contracting someone's services that does a job for you, you need to have a contract in place. This is when you're going to come in. This is your compensation. This is your call out procedure. This is your attendance procedure. This is everything. That's just business 101. I don't understand. Like, I think in addition with the real estate classes, Granny and Grandpop over there should also play for some business classes as well. Because I don't understand how these ladies opened up a business and this is how it operates. Because to me, if you let this slip, that means with the other relatives that work for you, i.e., Jaquita, Aunt Nikki, and all of them, there's probably not much contract with them as well. Or if this is, then that's a conflict of interest because why doesn't he have one as well? No, they were paying him. Nikki put it out there that he was being paid. But the problem is that he doesn't he has other clients and he has other propositions. So they're conflicting when they call him and say, "Hey, you need to be here, you need to be there." If he had a contract and an obligation to be there on top of the retainer, then it would make it easier for him to schedule around that. But when you have other clients and there's no contract, he has to go where he knows he's getting paid. And even though they are paying him,
Usually, when you have a contract, though, or work with somebody on retainer for like photographers, 'cause I
mhm,
have a friend who does what he does for CW something out here in the Bay Area, some real estate company, but they have a schedule that, like, they have for the month so that they
mhm.
know when they will need photos and things. Because usually when it comes to a photographer, that's something that's planned, not last minute. So, usually they provide the photographer, real estate companies, like, a schedule, and then, yes, they get paid biweekly or monthly, however it is, but there's a schedule of something to follow, and usually the contract will have those like terms and conditions within it because a lot of this is pre-planned. So it does show a little flaw in how they do business, but I think they're just trying to take advantage of a brother-in-law because they probably not paying him what he should be getting paid.
I think it's a little bit of both. I think they're not paying what he should be getting paid, but also I think it's he should be at their beck and call. I think that's the expectation they set for him. And if this is a business for him and he has other clients, it's not, as I said, I agree with you. There is contracts that I've seen where in photography, if you're doing it for real estate, they have you come in on designated days. They do that in real estate. We have one as well. So I have seen that contract. Um, as far as no job security goes, with real estate, it's always a fluctuation. So we always have to keep that in mind. So when he says, "I want a contract," is because we know there are dry months in real estate. There are months where you go from having 10 clients a month to only having 3. So the time can fluctuate. And then you also have a time where you have cash buyers who want to buy a house without even seeing it. So there's no time to really to take the pictures, or there's an emergency to take the pictures. So job security with real estate is it's a 50-50 toss of the coin. Depends on how that firm is doing. So I think in this situation, they have the security. They're just not doing the proper steps to retain him properly, if that makes sense. So hopefully I answer your question, underscore X. But moving on from there, we then have a scene with Lakeisha and Caramel. They're going to look at this house. It's a beautiful home. What we learned new about Lakeisha this episode that we did not get in the other episodes is that she's also a mother. She has a 20-year-old son. She had him by a guy who was just a friend. He would sneak through a window. They would do it, and she ended up pregnant by him. So we didn't know how many kids Caramel had, but they're looking at a 5-bedroom house that said that would cover all of the kids. So I'm like, okay, if Lakeisha got one, how many do you have, Caramel? Is the question. Um, so they go in the backyard, and it was a beautiful home, y'all. Houston has beautiful homes in newly developed areas. That actually would not be a bad place for me to actually look into my real estate adventure. Because I'm not so like I said, I don't want to be stuck in Phoenix forever. I love Phoenix, but I do see me being somewhere else. I just don't know where that place is. So I'm gonna look at Houston a little bit further, even though Mrs. Best said I gotta go to Vegas with her, which I love Vegas, so I'm not mad at that either.
Oh,
Vegas
that's
is
just a stepping stone. My husband's ideal place that he wants to move us to is Houston, but I'm resisting. I am resisting tough.
but
That's
if
where he
but
wants
if
to go.
I'm there, that should be more reason
I
why
will
you
still resist. I just I don't wanna go to Texas. Something about it, I don't wanna deal
I
with
get
it.
it. No, I get it. I get it. I
Yeah,
definitely
my
understand.
mother-in-law's there. Woo. The, continue on, James.
Okay, Sanji. So they're back at the pool, and Cameron brings up the conversation with her sister, cousins, and her aunt, and she goes, "Where the hell did that come from?" And she goes, "I know, like that was solely out of left field." They go, "Do they know the real story of what happened?" So they didn't say. Caramel and Lakeisha didn't say what exactly happened with this ex-girlfriend. They just said that there aren't any boundaries in place. Apparently, her and the ex-girlfriend conversate often. So I'm just like, okay, did I miss something? I rewinded it. I said, did they talk about cheating? Is there an emotional connection? What the hell is going on? Because for you to act a fool and say, why does she keep calling you at her mother's wake? And she's trying to process and grieve properly on this. I don't understand what happened here. I can't even put into context what it could be. If it wasn't cheating, then what else could it have been? Because it couldn't just be because a girl called, because maybe the girl had a close relationship with the mother, or maybe she understood the relationship Lakeisha had with her mother and wanted to reach out in that way. Maybe it was something like that. I don't, you guys, losing people, I've heard from people I hadn't talked to in years. Like all kind of people came out of any which direction to reach out to me to offer their condolences and say, they're sorry. And it was nice to catch up with a lot of them. It really was. Like, but there are people I hadn't heard from in such a long time. So all I got from it was the relationship was inappropriate and that it was a constant thing, and that when she acted out, it was because it was a constant thing. So, Mrs. Best, maybe you could probably fill me in on how you feel about this thing because I was lost.
I was the same as you. I'm still lost. I didn't understand the they said a boundary had been broken, but it does.
It was
I
like
don't know.
the
I don't like Caramel. Something about her rubs me wrong. Regardless on if a boundary was broken for you at that time, put it to the side, tuck it in your back pocket, and and, and so this person just lost someone. It's not the time. It's not the time. I could never like. I could never. I don't understand how you can care for someone, even if you don't care for someone. Like this woman just lost her mother, like her mother, not just a friend or someone, like her mother. Like that's a big deal. And you're mad and worried about your boundary. The only pass that people get to act a fool is in this type of situation. And the fact that Caramel was not willing to give that to her uh, worries me. I don't think that this is the person for Lakeisha. And seeing this scene kind of made me understand Nicole and like her questioning her
I
because it's
understood her as well. Not gonna lie, I understood her as well, and I kind of felt like that too when I was watching that scene. I was like, okay, yeah, that's not the right place. And if this was my sister and her person just was acting all kinds of crazy, and this person's trying to process the loss of their mother, the last thing I'm gonna want you to do is act a fool because somebody's calling a phone. Send her ass to voicemail if you don't feel like talking to her, or if she needs to talk to her, then create the space where that could happen because you don't know what that person's trying to say. Even if the person is on bullshit, even then, like still, it's grieving. I luckily I didn't hear from any of my exes. I probably wouldn't have answered the phone if I did hear from them. But at the same time, all of them, all of them dating back to Genesis's ass, all of them know how much my parents meant to me. So if they decided to call me, and I'm talking from the girlfriend I had from 18 all the way to 34, if they decide to call me, whether I answer the phone or not, whoever I'm with currently today, gotta understand. Look, they knew what my parents meant to me. So they're going to, I'm sure, offer them their condolences. She should have addressed that, to be honest, the camera. You know what Lakeisha gives me, and this is why I want to root for her, but she does give me pause, is that she's very hesitant, neglectful, and almost, passive in a way where I don't feel like she needs to be unless she's triggered. And that's dangerous to me when people are like that, when they're passive, dismissive, neglectful of emotion, feeling, and things that they need to address, they don't until they get triggered. That to me is a dangerous way to live. And I feel like she should have never addressed it, but at the same time, Lakeisha also needs, if this is who you want to protect, because she did send a text message out to everybody saying, hey, this was not cool, and we will talk about this later. Yes, something snaps in you when you lose your mom. I get it. She Was she cheating prior? We don't know. And that's what we were trying to figure out. Was it a cheating situation? And once again, y'all, this gonna sound like a broken record. If someone cheated on you and you decide to take them back after they have done so, you need to forgive them and move on from it. The cheating, if they you don't just take them back just so you can hold that over your head where they go to the grocery store and they take an hour and 30 minutes. Oh, well, you was just cheating on me. Well, why was you at the grocery store that long? And this and this and that. That's not what that's for. So, Caramel, if you took her back after she cheated on you, if that's really what it was, then sis, you need to move on from it. That shouldn't trigger you anyway because you shouldn't have been with her if you knew it was going to trigger you. Mrs. Best, is there anything you want to add before we move on?
No, I agree. I agree. It's really that simple. That's it.
Why does
HK, you ain't told no lies.
I
No
mean
lies.
Carlos is notorious for wanting some shit to stretch beyond all capacity. Like I have never in my life have
We'll be
felt
halfway to AARP, James, by the time we get to the bottom of what's
right.
going on with this
Hell, I'm
family.
already knocking on their door now. Shit doesn't look. Like I'm just like, damn, Carlos, come on now. Tell them to speed this shit up. I need to know. I need answers. Goddamn it! By the end of this season, I better have an answer. I better know that it was cheating, and that's why Cameron lost her mind. That's all I thought. That's all I better know. Okay. Moving on, y'all. We have this nothing scene with Jaquita. That little baby though was so freaking cute. I'm getting girl. This is gonna shock Mrs. Best, but I have been having baby fever like no other right
It don't shock me. We at that age. I'm not going I pray Josiah don't come on and watch this. He said something about having kids that I looked at him the other day. I was like, damn, I might do that for you. But you know what? I ain't mad at you. That baby was cute.
he was, and I was just like, oh my god, I just can't wait. I just cannot wait. I just, Lord, hell, I may have to do a single. Who knows? But like, cause I, girl, when I tell you, when I get my life together, I am going to be ready. It was I was on Facebook watching some girl. She adopted some baby, and that baby was so cute. I was like, oh my god, I'm going crazy with this baby fever thing. But I am starting to have baby fever, y'all. It's the real life. But they were talking. He's coming in the room. Her husband's name is Justin. He's coming into the room and he is tired and he has this event coming up where he's going to sing and everything. And they showed a little snippet of him singing, and I'm just like, okay.
It wasn't good, the snippet. I do music reviews, by the way, so I can say that it was not good, the little
And
snippet.
I was like, yeah, yeah. Why y'all choose Carlos? Why you choose that part of the snippet to put in the scene? You ain't shit. I'm sure he sounded better at some point in this song, from probably 0 up into 3 minutes and 52 seconds. There had to have been another 7 seconds you could have put in this one little scene. There had to have been. But, he, talking about, she's like, I have a lot on my plate. She said, I'm in my 40s, and I'm like, you ain't gonna tell your real age, Jaquita. I mean, not Jaquita, Jamisha. These damn Quitas and Ishas. God damn it. Jamisha, you're not gonna say it really? Okay, it ain't her business. I get it. But she says she in her mid 40s. She wants to be able to travel by the time she gets 60. That's why she's working hard. But then she says, "Yeah, I'm gonna still have kids." I said, "Girl, your kids gonna be grown by the time you get 60. You could go out there and travel and see the world and stuff." That's a good ambition. I actually like Jermisha. She's very ambitious. You could tell she's someone who started, the careers of her success later in life. And that's always inspiring to me when people do that, because it leaves me hope that I'm not wasting my years. I'm just learning me so I could become a better success when I'm older. So she gives me hope. Like that really gave me hope to see that. That little scene with that little baby was so cute. I just couldn't take my eyes off. I said, "Oh, look at them." But do y'all, Jaquita, Jermisha, and Nicole's husband all look like each other? I had to put that on notice because when I was looking at the show, I'm like, damn, are they cousins? Something that we just don't know it, like on their side too? Like, wouldn't that be some shit? They all marry some cousins.
I mean, it's the Bayou City. All my cousins is
Really?
light skin like that, and they
Oh,
friends.
okay.
Everybody kind of look the same. I'm like, maybe they're just Creole or Cajun.
I didn't even think about that because I was like, damn, they look like they could all be related. I was looking at Jermisha's husband, I was looking at Jaquita's husband, I was like, damn, they like they could be cousins or something. Okay, that makes more sense because I was like, damn, they all look alike. Um, but it was a cute little scene. The next scene we have is Granny is coming over to Nicole's house to help her cook some cabbage. Now, Nicole does not give me somebody who can cook at all. And she said, well, Granny's coming over. She's talking to her daughter Layton that Granny's coming over to come cook her some cabbage. And we get a little bit more of Granny's backstory as they're cooking the cabbage after Granny. I don't know if that was a handful of salt or a handful of sugar that she put in that cabbage. But I said, oh, damn, I'm scared to try it. But y'all, I'm gonna have a plate ready. Because so they say Granny can throw down. I want to see. But as they're talking with this story, um, Granny said that she was adopted because her mother did not want to have a connection with her. So her adopted family gave her a great life. And Nick Cole tells her, I want to adopt. And she said that that would be a beautiful thing. She goes, I have this beautiful home that I could give to someone. And Nicole seems very passionate about wanting to do this. Knowing that her grandmother was adopted, I think that that's still a beautiful thing because those are still kids who need love. And those kids do become a part of you even though they're not a bloodline connection, they're still a part of you because knowing that you have them and that you adopted them and that they are yours, it's still a connection, regardless of it being blood. They still will love you, they still will honor you, even when they get older. So I think this is a beautiful thing. I think she has enough room to get not more than she can get a couple of kids, not just one. I feel like, but get what you can handle. But still, I feel like with that big old house, you probably can get one, two. Stop being stingy. I'm just playing. How did you feel about the scene about the grandmother and her talking about the adoption?
I thought it was great. I feel like it's like slightly taboo in like black households a little bit, but um I loved it. That's something that as I get older and with health issues that I have that could make pregnancy high risk is something that I have seriously considered. I always tell my husband if we don't have a baby naturally by 36, then I would want to adopt because I can't afford a surgery, y'all. I ain't paying for that shit. But yeah, I think adoption is a beautiful thing. I also think there's a lot of African American children that struggle, especially we work in social services. They struggle to get adopted at the rates that kids of other ethnicities and cultures do. So I think it's a wonderful thing. I mean, if you have the means and you want the child, but you don't want to go through the pregnancy, whether it's for health reasons or fertility reasons, and adopt. It's a beautiful thing.
I think more people should look into adoption, especially the ones who definitely struggle with fertility and everything. I think they should look into adoption because you are right. There are absolutely a lot of kids, especially black kids, that are in the system, unfortunately, and they need good homes. Like I said three, because I want to find a pair of twins out there somewhere, two twin boys, and I want a little girl. I do struggle with. I know that that's a very hard thing to find, but it is something. It's always been a fantasy of mine to have two twin boys. I don't know why, and then I want a little girl. I do. So I want three kids, and I would love to be married first, but if it doesn't happen, I'm fine with taking the responsibility on my own. I really am. So moving on from there, we have the last scene, which is everyone meeting up for Justin's performance. Um, Jaquita and Jermisha cracked me up because they said that they could do the background singing. Well, it was most so Jermisha, but they were cracking me up in that confessional where they was trying to sing a little note and tune. I said, "Oh no, I see why he said no." None of y'all, but that ain't my place to kill y'all dreams. That ain't my place to kill y'all dreams. So everyone gets there. Aunt Nikki, Nicole, Monet, and they begin talking. Lakeisha is coming, and Jaquita said, "What is with that text message? What did I miss?" And they all pointed at Nicole's, and Nicole said, "Well, no, I pretty much told her Caramel that I didn't like what she did when it came to Lakeisha's mother's passing, and I guess Lakeisha's in her feelings about it. And even that pointed out Nikki. Nikki had said something too, and I'm just like, once again, I get both sides of it. I get they don't know this lady. That's one thing. They understand that this is her girlfriend, but at the same time, her mother had passed, and you felt it was necessary to start an argument over an ex colleague. That's what they didn't understand. So I get their point of view. Like Mrs. Best said, we get both sides of it. I get
Listen,
their point of
I'm with
view.
Jaquita's comment. Why she sent a text message? She probably got cussed out on the way home. Listen, and that's all we needed to know.
Yep,
Because that's
exactly.
exactly what happened, which proves also that I do think Caramel is acting a fool when her mom, passed. Because why would you then go and expect her to have a conversation with them about the very situation that is? She made it about herself. I don't like this Caramel chick. That's all I have to say. I don't like
I'm gonna give her till next week's episode because we leave off on a cliffhanger because they get there and we know all hell's about to break loose because Lakeisha said that she's going to confront them about this. And I just feel like, oh, Lakeisha, you already on the outs with them. Like, why do you feel this is necessary to do? Like, over
because
her being.
Caramel wants her to do it, and that's how you know it's not the person for you. Listen, my family dysfunctional as hell. My partner ain't never suggested or pushed me towards like arguing or checking them about how they treated him or anything like that. He just
Hmm.
took it on the chin and let time heal the wound. I don't think it's right for Caramel to even be expecting her to talk to her family about anything. It's just making for more drama.
To
I,
me, it just gives me that she wants some type of position that is not really, because you can't really ask her with the family that she's already on the outskirts with because of how she came about in this world. You can't really expect her to then confront them about your behavior that you shouldn't have done at her mother's wake. It's very crazy to me. So I agree. I get what you're saying. I do. It kind of comes off that she's very arrogant. And to me, I'm looking at Lakeisha's self esteem a little bit. I'm like, okay, you need to have a bigger backbone. Because, like I said, Lakeisha gives me that her defense mechanism comes when she gets angry. And that's not a good thing, especially after having grief. That's not a good thing to be angry in that capacity because then it comes up and it shows out wrong. And then you end up informing habits to yourself of how you cope that are more detrimental to your being than the original grief process. It just happens that way a lot. Alcoholism is one. That's a good example. A lot of people turn to alcohol when they don't know how to handle their grief or their pain because they think that that's going to numb it. And I'm not saying she's an alcoholic or anything. I'm just saying that could be something that she copes with. It could be, violence. It could be something, a lot of people cope in different ways when they don't handle things appropriately. That's why we say therapy is important. We champion therapy in this. We do. Because therapy does what, y'all? It interrupts the pattern that causes us to get out of our own way once we tell the entire truth of what is going on. And if you don't know the entire truth, you don't know yourself. That's all. Is there anything you want to add to this, Mrs. Best, before we end this live?
no.
So that was it. It was Family Empire Houston, y'all. It's starting off very slow. I'm not gonna lie. I don't get to as many views with this video as I do my other ones. I still would like to keep it because I am learning a lot. But Carlos, you have to speed this up some kind of way. I'm not saying that there needs to be fights and brawls and drama, but I need to get more dialect and context with these storylines for them to make sense to us. Some of them don't make sense at all. Just saying. So that was it, y'all. That was Family Empire Houston. Shout out to HK_X for being in our chat today. Shout out to Mrs. Best for being here with me and always being my co-host. Tomorrow we will be on your channel for Real Housewives of New Jersey. Is that on tonight?
Yeah, it came back on.
Okay, so we'll be on her channel tomorrow for Real Housewives of New Jersey, and then we'll be back on my channel for Real Housewives of Dubai on Wednesday. If you guys did not watch my Real Housewives of Dubai episode, please go on my channel, find it, and make sure you watch it because it was a very important message that we are going to do again when me and Mrs. Best come on my channel on Wednesday. You guys do not want to miss it. It was very entertaining. So make sure you go back and watch that. Thank you guys once again for being here. And I will see you guys on Mrs. Best's channel tomorrow. See you guys later. Bye-bye.